welcome to week one.
Yeah, welcome to week
We're
one.
doing some recaps in the Zangoose division
Zangoose
for
is.
Villanova
It's
Pokemon division.
all right. No, it's
Is it
definitely
Zangoose? I think it's
I think it's
Zangoose.
Zangoose.
Or Zangeese?
It's not Zangeese.
Alright, we'll talk about this
I,
later.
I'm feeling
sure.
Zangooses.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure I'll never hear the end of the Zangeese conundrum. We're gonna start with me versus Pace, which is it's a fun match.
Yeah.
I get to explain my team building tech skill. So I decided to open with Crocodile, mostly because I figured he would probably open with Glysaur, and he did. And I could pretty easy safe taunt him. If he was SD, he would out himself, and if he was not, then he'd get taunted, which is good either way. Or he could just get a protect and get his Toxic Orb up, but I wasn't scared of defensive Glysaur. So he goes into Tangrowth, and that's a bit of a problem for Crocodile, and I can't really do anything, so I go into Golbat. And I considered the fact that I was going to take a knockoff, but I didn't really need the Eviolite, so I just I took the L on turn 2. And I decided to U-turn, I believe, because I figured Pace wouldn't want to stay in on a Golbat that it couldn't do anything against, and I was correct. So then I used that to put myself back into Latios, and this was my plot. So I knew that Pace was going to switch in Alolan Muck. He couldn't resist the temptation of hardwalling Latios and pursuing me after I get greedy with my Draco. So I clicked Draco, but little does he know that I am a Rash Draco Meteor Earthquake set designed.
Yeah, let's pause it.
Designed
Pause
specifically
it right
to lure Alolan Muck and nothing else. And I also made sure, the way I constructed the Latios set, that I had just enough speed to outspeed SD Glysaur, which is max speed base 95. So my Latios actually has 319 speed. I also had Ice Beam for Glysaur, but there wasn't really anything Pace could do once I removed his Muck to punish me for clicking Draco Meteor against his team a bunch of times. And I actually even made sure that I could kill a Komodo at -2, although I did lose the roll on -4 because you can't just keep spamming out Dracos indiscriminately. But what we're going to see in the match is that I didn't really get a lot of opportunity to let Latios back in, so I kind of lose my opportunity for a 6-0, which sucks.
You know, I'd still definitely say that Latios was the MVP.
Latios definitely.
After that EQ, he had no idea what to do.
Yeah, no. I really had Pace dancing in the palm of my hands. If he was DD Komodo, I would have been a little bit more scared, but I think we'll see that his set is not.
It's not, sadly.
So I unpaused the replay. Pace goes into Glysaur, and I figured that Ice Beam was a pretty free play. I mean, he wasn't really doing anything to scare me out. The worst thing he could do is Toxic me, but my Latios already did its job. So I just get off a bunch of damage with Ice Beam. And this was also partially to scout if he was special defense Glysaur or some physical defense set. And he's a special defense set, which is, I mean, it's fine. I've pretty much crippled his Glysaur for the rest of the game unless he brings it in on something free. And I didn't want him to keep Roxa because I knew I'd have to be pivoting a lot, so I just defog, since again, his Glysaur couldn't really do anything to pressure me. In the worst case, he knock-offed me and I died, but that was fine. Latios did its job. So he sends in Slowbro, and I immediately hard swap into Lantern, because Lantern hardwalls CM Slowbro, and if he's Iron Defense, I can just Toxic it.
Iron Defense Slowbro again.
It's a real set. So, and he sends in Volcanion, and I'm going to pause it again, because I have to explain my building against Volcanion. So I looked at Volcanion as kind of the premier threat against my team, because it has a lot of good coverage options to take me out. But as I constructed my team, I made it in such a way that the only two scary sets were Scarf Volcanion, because it could outspeed everything, because I only speed creep to max speed base 95, because Pace's team is way slow and he lets me do that.
Yeah, it's really slow.
And then I was also somewhat scared of a Bloom Doom set, and that's because it could blow through Lantern, which was otherwise a counter to Volcanion, because it could swallow as many Earth Powers as it wanted. So I actually hard swapped into Golbat here to try and scout him out, because he was probably going to go, if he was Bloom Doom, I imagined he would have gone straight for it, and if he was Scarf, I think he would have gone for Earth Power, or Steam Eruption. And what we see
Right.
is that he actually goes for Sludge Bomb, which was very, I'll unpause it now. That was very interesting for me. I didn't quite know how to interpret that. And then I recalled Pace's set from last season, which was AV. So I assumed it was that. And then I also just, as a safe play, clicked Protect on Golbat to make sure he wasn't choice. And he clicks Flamethrower, so I knew he wasn't choice. So I decided to actually go into Tyranitar here, because what Madman clicks Steam Eruption when there's a confirmed Water Absorbed Lantern that switches in 100%, and he clicks Steam Eruption, and he gets the burn, which is really unfortunate because I made my Tyranitar to Creep and Oko Volcanion, but I can't do that with a burn. It's offensive Stealth Rocks with Ice Punch and Toxic. Toxic is for Mega Slowbro, because it kind of walls me without a Dark move. And Tangrowth as well. But I figured he wasn't going to stay in with Volcanion, and I was also just kind of okay with taking the L on Tyranitar, so I just get my rocks up, since I've kind of crippled his main hazard remover in Glysaur. And he sent in Tangrowth, and Tangrowth, as we're going to see over the course of the match, pretty much lets in Golbat for free every time. There wasn't really a lot he could do to punish me, because I think he's like a Rocky Helmet set that has HP Fire and Knockoff. So I could pretty safely switch in Golbat and U-turn out with minimal punishment. And that's what I do. I roost off damage when I need to, because if I let my Golbat, I'm having flashbacks to John taking Gligar from me. If I let my Golbat drop too low, there was a distinct possibility that I'd get swept by DD Komodo, because I didn't have a good Pokemon to outspeed it. I was relying on defensively answering it. So I have to keep my Golbat in good health. And then for the next couple turns, I'm just going to kind of start Volt turning all over Pace, and he really doesn't know what to do with it. I'm honestly amazed that he did not send in Glysaur at all when I was doing this to him.
It's so dirty. The Volt turn is so dirty.
I don't know why he let that happen, honestly. Like,
Especially
I
on the
just sit
Toxic
there-
play that hit Tangrowth.
Oh yeah, dude, the Toxic, I was intending to hit Slowbro,
Yeah.
but hitting Tang was perfectly good.
You do not want to let your daddy get toxic.
Oh, and then here, I figured I had a free turn, because I doubted he had Power Whip, and I kind of wanted to open the option of me using Tyranitar offensively again, so I heal the burn off of my Tyranitar. That turns out to be useless later in the match when I use Tyranitar for the amazing niche of Sandstorm damage. But
You love it.
I decided to play safe, and then I also go back into Golbat. I should explain my Lantern set a little bit. So I actually ran 28 speed EVs, and that was to outspeed Volcanion at min speed, because it puts Lantern at 178, and max speed Volcanion, not max speed, no investment Volcanion's 176, so if you ran bulky Volcanion again, I could Volt Switch on him first, and that was also another way I could scout his set. And then, I mean, I'm really just talking over a bunch of Volt turning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I send in Kartana for the first time because he put himself in kill range for Leaf Blade, and I got a little bit, I got greedy. I figured it was safe to go for Leaf Blade, so I did. And that's actually how I found out it was Rocky Helmet Tang, I believe. But
I mean, it doesn't really hurt you too much.
no, not at all. It ends up not mattering.
And the HP Fire, that was actually my idea, because they didn't know what fourth move to put on Tangrowth. I think they had HP Fighting for Tyranitar, but like
What?
that still would have done nothing.
That
would have done zero.
That would have done zero. Yeah,
And I
HP
guess-
Fire was
yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
a better bring.
Yeah, they didn't even have Power Whip,
Yeah.
But
that would have done more.
I don't think you guys really considered Golbat as a defensive threat.
I mean, I didn't consider anything. I just said
Yeah.
HP Fire
I mean-
instead of HP Fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the physically
Golbat.
defensive Tangrowth was a good bring for Kartana, but the Golbat just totally shut
Yeah.
it down, and he really didn't have
Yeah, definitely.
any answers for
I
it,
think
even after
that
it got
Golbat
knocked
was
off.
very much an overlooked threat in this match.
And he's not using the regenerator on Tangrowth. Like
He's not.
he's just letting it die in a toxic, which that's
Yeah.
not good.
He's not abusing his regen core. I did intend to Volt turn in, not Volt turn, to U-turn into Kartana there to let him die to Leech Seed because I knew he'd get greedy for health. I was risking the HP Fire, but I mean, what madman does that? So this is a pretty pivotal turn coming up because Pace gets a little bit angsty, I guess, and he sends in his Komodo, and I have Psycho Cut for that. So I Psycho Cut him and take out a huge chunk of his health. And I did this because I knew that I could put him in Sandstorm range. So if in the worst case scenario, I would not be swept by DD Komodo, and he reveals Autotomize. And I was like, alright, that's not a threat.
Worst case, he's actually Overcoat and immune to the Sandstorm damage.
Dude, who runs Overcoat when my team has Primarina? He was definitely soundproof. So
Yeah, I think it might have been nice to have Drain Punch there instead of Close Combat. Not that it necessarily would have broken through Golbat either way.
He needed,
but because he had the Life Orb on there too.
Slide at +1 to break Golbat. So I put in the Sandstorm, and I was prepared to have my Golbat kind of take the L and stall out the Komodo for the 4 turns, especially with the Protects, but he has Life Orb, so he does the job for me, which was really convenient. I think Dragon Dance would have definitely been a better bring over Autotomize as well. I mean, I can understand the rationale, and I would never let him get up to Dragon Dances. I just feel like the Komodo really needed the power.
Plus, with Pace's team being so slow, you're not really forced to run any Scarfers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you shouldn't really have a concern of outspeeding like Scarf Lottie, for example.
Yeah, Latios was my fastest Pokemon at 319. And then I do not understand the rationale behind clicking Explosion on a known Protect Pokemon.
He just wanted to take away kills from your...
I think he wanted to just show it off at that point.
I feel like he
at this
did,
point, the
honestly.
game's pretty much over.
I'm baffled a little bit. And then the rest of this replay is really just me bringing in Latios and punishing him for his insolence.
It was a bold prediction that didn't work out.
You're right. I do get to reveal the Haze Golbat that I had for DD Komodo, actually, on the Slowbro when he starts setting up Calm Minds like a cheeky little bitch. Like I was about to let him win off of that. I think the big takeaway from this battle is that I had solid control over the battle pretty much since I took out his Muck. Pace's team just... It didn't have the pressure, but more importantly, it didn't have the plays to... I mean, it's not that it didn't have the plays. He didn't make the plays to kind of wrest control back from me. So I sort of just had him dancing in my palm the entire time.
He made team building a little bit easy for you with the slow team, and then Komodo just kind of sitting there. It's got to set up, or something's got to be a Scarf. So like Haze on Golbat, and then Golbat's bulky and typing and stuff like that. Like Golbat pretty much shut down most of his team with that set, and the rest of the team could just kind of tear through whenever you had a chance to get in.
Yeah, I think the rest of the league is going to have a field day on Pace's team unless he kind of works about his speed, because he built a team that we have the luxury of running slow Pokemon against.
I have him this week, so we'll see.
Yeah, like his fastest Pokemon is Talonflame, but if you're not worried about Talonflame, his next fastest is Gliscor, I think.
Yeah, it's Gliscor.
Yeah, Talonflame doesn't count.
So,
I actually briefly considered Talonflame, and then I remembered I had a Tyranitar. So, like...
Yeah, if you have something that counters the Talonflame, everything's just going to speed creep down to Gliscor. I do think the Tangrowth set was good. It just... There was no foreseeing the Golbat there.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
That was huge.
I never actually had to bring in Crocodile after like the first turn, which was interesting. So that's my match versus Pace.
We'll pop open me versus Billy here.
Oh boy, you versus Billy.
I'll just go.
This was a good one.
The match none of us saw coming.
That D1.
I'll go line by line here. And 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so I let off with Lycanroc. I'm like, who leads off with Garchomp? Unless it's Rocks.
Dude, Garchomp is a super common lead. I don't know what metagames you've been playing, but like...
You'd said that you were expecting the Garchomp, weren't you?
I was expecting the Garchomp to come, but I was expecting something like Ferrothorn or Crobat to lead off. Specifically Crobat because of potential. Like, I had lead Scolipede on this. And I probably should have just thrown it out anyways.
Was there a rationale behind not running Ice Beam on your Blastoise?
I ran Scald, and I had Refresh for Toxapex, because I kind of overestimated how much Blastoise was going to be able to do in terms of hazard removing versus Toxapex. So it was Scald Refresh, Rapid Spin, and Toxic, I think. But anyways, I let off Lycanroc because I knew rocks were going to be really important in this game. And I probably should have switched directly into Shaman instead of Blastoise and letting it take all that damage. But
I feel like you may have just overestimated Blastoise's capabilities in general.
I thought Blastoise didn't.
Yeah, I think that was.
It didn't, but like.
I mean, he did okay getting rid of what I needed him to get rid of, and like later on, he kind of, when he dies, he's pretty much done his job at that point.
Yeah, Blastoise kind of just dies.
Yeah.
After clearing hazards once.
Basically, it was just to get rid of the original onslaught of hazards and then not letting him get them up again was the plan. And keeping up my rocks and getting Scolopedes and spikes in later, I felt like was going to be big for me.
So you were a Spiker Scolipede then?
I was a Spiker Scolipede. So I got the Rapid Spin off with Blastoise versus Crobat. I'm like, okay, I'll get in Lycanroc now. Because I thought he might be locked into whatever he was going through, like maybe Scarf Crobat for Lopunny, but he wasn't. He U-turns out right into Toxapex, which I blow away with Drill Run. Lycanroc basically 6-0s his team besides Garchomp at this point. So I sacked Blastoise on the Garchomp going for SD, which I'm not too concerned about because Thundy Eye is Expert Belt HP Ice, which outspeeds Mega Garchomp after it's Mega'd. And I also have Scolipede here. I probably should have gone Thundy, just an HP Ice knocked it out. But I wanted my spikes up, so I bring out Scolipede. I figure, okay, I can just endeavor to get rid of the Garchomp, and I'll bring in Lycanroc later, and he can basically clean house. The Diancie's a little bit of a problem because I can't OHKO it with Drill Run, so I'll need a little bit of chip on that first. But getting the Garchomp out of the way is pretty nice for me. I go Lycanroc just to revenge kill it, and then he brings out, I believe,
Pumpkin Doge is getting a little.
Oh no, Ferrothorn.
So, I think we're a little bit ahead of you, Mark. But can you explain?
You might be.
Did Drill Run not kill Ferrothorn at that low?
At 31%?
Yeah.
I mean, either's 95% accurate.
That's fair.
I probably should have gone for Drill Run, but obviously the Fire Fang missing really hurts there.
Yeah.
Because I was planning to basically take out the Ferrothorn. The only thing that lives Lycanroc at that point is the Diancie, so it has to come in on me. And I bring in Shaman on the Diancie, force it back out, and if it comes back in on hazards, it's in range of Drill Run. But Billy makes a really nice play, I want to mention, going for Stealth Rocks when I go for Stealth Rocks. I don't know how he knew to do that, but I was like, oh, he's just trying to chip away Lycanroc. He's going to go for Protect. But he made a really good play going for Stealth Rocks there while I tried to get mine up. And that ends up being kind of the game.
Can you explain why you hard swap in Moltres there? I mean, were you really that desperate to get rid of hazards? Because it seems like Thundy would have been a better play all around.
Thundy would have been the better play coming in on Diancie here. I brought Moltres in because I was expecting Entei to come out, and it was actually pressure stall Moltres, so I was just going to stall him out of Stone Edges.
Yeah, these last few plays
I probably should have
gone
gone Thundy here.
For you, I think. I mean,
stall him out of Stone
think
Edge
after
with my 4x Rock Week Mon.
Yeah, I don't know. I was definitely hoping for an HP steal on the Moltres when I was watching the replay.
Oh my god. HP
yeah.
steal.
Yeah.
I think once he got rocks up, the game was basically over because my win condition at the time that Lycanroc was still alive was Lycanroc KOing Ferrothorn with that Fire Fang coming out and then just cleaning up the rest of his Mons. But once Lycanroc missed, I didn't reevaluate that I needed a new win condition.
Well,
and that probably should have been Moltres.
Seed flared on the turn that you rested, couldn't you?
Well, he does still have Entei and Crobat in the back, so Seed Flare is never a safe play for him.
Well, but he just rested off and then sacked Moltres for no reason.
He sacks Moltres to get rid of the sleep and rest.
But he didn't have to rest. He
yeah.
could just Seed Flare. And then he'd still have Moltres.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I probably would have saved Moltres over Shaman, mostly just because Shaman kind of dies to...
Well, on the Brave Bird, you can maybe go Thundy and you still have 3 Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, as we see though, Thundy does in fact die to Brave Bird plus E-Speed.
Yep.
And
yeah, that was the big that was another big thing of him getting up rocks is not only did it really hurt Moltres, but I don't die to E-Speed plus Brave Bird without the rocks up. So basically, I just didn't reevaluate after Lycanroc went down how I was going to win the game, and that whole end game just ended up really jumbled.
Yeah.
But Billy played really well. He got both kind of like blind leads correct.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
He got
definitely
the really nice play with Ferrothorn.
pretty impressed with how Billy performed in this match. It shows that he had a decent idea as far as team building went, and then he utilized his core really well. I think I was definitely sleeping on Billy.
I was sleeping on Billy. I was planning on memeing all over him in week 5.
Yeah, I was definitely gonna meme on him too. But as he's shown, when he said that he's actually good when he takes the game seriously, he wasn't actually memeing on
Right.
us.
Here's the thing, though. We got to
Yeah.
see if he brings different sets in the coming weeks, right? 'Cause
Yeah, that's fair.
prep becomes easy
Yeah.
when you know the sets already. So we'll just see
Yeah,
if he
I'm
mixes
hoping
it
he.
up. And I mean, if
I'm
does,
hoping he
then
changes it up going forwards because
Well, if he
yeah, I think he's got a solid team.
if he uses the sets I told him to against Finn, it'll be a fun match to commentate.
You're making me excited to watch Billy's first, for the first time. You're making me excited to watch a Billy match. So
Dude, what are you talking about? Billy versus Chris Thompson is the greatest grudge match that we still need. All right,
the
do you
hero we
guys
don't
Yeah.
deserve.
do you guys want to move on to
Yeah.
a real slaughter?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do
Well,
that.
actually, they're both pretty much slaughters left. Are we
Mark,
doing?
We're doing mine
Let's-
first.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's do
I guess
Dave's
we'll
first
do Dave versus
to
Chris
keep with
next.
the chronological thing.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, so Dave versus Chris. This is a match.
It is. All right. So Coco's the obvious lead. Don actually had the mirror coat on a Rockwooded in our match after, which I totally would have fallen for. 'cause
Oh,
as
that
you
was
see,
the
I mean, I
tech.
go for the Thunderbolt.
That was
this turn.
absolutely the tech.
I would have lost Coco there, easy. If it was Spadef mirror coat, but he was protect. He didn't use protect very well. Like I kind of reasoned that he would have had a toxic as his 4th move, but he never revealed that. There was really no point in protecting other than predicting me, and most of my plays were safe enough that I could just do them again and not really have to worry about anything. So yeah, Scald was the only offensive move on my Mew.
Yeah, because I had transform.
Yeah, Z
Skull.
transformed to
Oh my
stop
God.
the choiced Ultra Beasts, because if he was locked into a fire move on Blacephalon or a rock or poison move on Nihilego, he was stuck. And then I could counter sweep
Yep.
him basically with the Mew if he'd had.
All right,
a
can we
boost.
pause for a
Yeah.
sec? I just want to point out, this is something I actually gave Chris a little bit of a write-up about the battle. And turns 4 and 5, where he just clicks roar for no reason.
Yeah.
Yep. No stealth rocks up.
I really had to criticize. I think the main thing Chris really did was just, outside of not evaluating Dave's sets very well, if at all, he had really poor free turn usage. So like he had 2 free turns there, and he uses them clicking roar,
Mhm.
which
Yep.
it's not a good usage of your turns.
Yeah.
With no rocks up or no phasing to be done.
In prep, Steelix destroyed my team.
Oh, I know.
It ripped through my team, and it was terrible. It was so embarrassing. I don't think I had Gudra in that match, but like a Muddy Water, I don't think one Muddy Water killed Steelix. So like,
Was it special defense Steelix though? Because I know I told Chris to
It
run
should have been because of
a
Coco.
max physical defense Steelix. I was unaware when I told him this that he was already running red card Donphan. So that's kind of a waste of Steelix. I definitely would tell him to run either an aggro Steelix or a special defense if I knew he was going to bring red card Donphan.
I'm definitely happy that I built up a reputation that I'm like hard to prep against, because he definitely over prepped for Halucha, and he wasn't. I mean,
Well-
like even after I revealed Scarf Gudra, he like
Just sacked his Blacephalon
Yeah.
for no reason. I don't think he realized
Yeah.
you were Scarf.
he probably should have
But
after like this next turn.
I mean, I probably
Yeah,
if I
after you
still
break
would've
this
brought
up
Halucha
there.
because it still tears apart his entire team.
I don't remember exactly what beat it. It might have been the Donphan. It might have been just some prep, like the red card. Like I would have been kind of messed up if I'd hit a red card.
Banded
on the-
Mega Pincer. Alright, you guys want to unpause
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Alright, so I'm locked into muddy
Yeah.
water here. Let's pause again real quick, just
Oh
because
my God.
this is pretty big.
Dave.
Oh, you're gonna explain the Empoleon?
No. He sees me switch. So I mean, right away you can kind of think that's a Scarf Gudra. But, I mean, not necessarily, but you could start to reason that.
I don't think I would.
As
Gudra can't really
I
do
wouldn't
anything
either.
to
as John pointed out later, this Araquanid walled Gudra completely. It was Earthquake, I don't know, Thunderbolt, Muddy Water, and Draco for Kyurem. The Araquanid walled it. I mean, any amount of special defense would just completely wall those moves. So he could have switched in the Araquanid and then Sticky Web immediately on every time that I Gudra out. But he didn't. So I think that was definitely a waste of turns, like Tyler was saying. And this, the Araquanid, it could have done so much. And we are gonna see, the liquidation does so much damage.
And gets the defense drop on Defiant and
Right,
Empoleon.
yeah.
Yeah, that's you want to unpause.
Yeah, we'll pause it.
He does get the sticky webs up here, and then proceeds to never do it again for
Yeah.
the rest of the game.
The idea with Empoleon, I originally had Aqua Jet, which didn't actually do any damage, even to Blacephalon, which was what it was for.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand the.
But what about
rationale
+2 Aqua Jet?
behind going for a liquidation on an Empoleon? That seems like kind of a waste.
Well, yeah, it did a lot. I don't know.
And then he's protecting for no reason
He's-
against a Pokemon that is known to set rocks.
Well, you see, he got me to reveal the Drill Peck, which probably would have knocked him out, or done a lot.
Yeah, that was.
So that was actually a
That's
good
true.
protect.
Oh, I
Even
can't
if-
believe you ran.
And he didn't
not
really have a great
potential.
switch in for
I mean,
Empoleon at that
it
point
beat the
either.
Rocket. That was why I had Empoleon, because I was going to switch it in on webs, get Defiant, roll through him just a little bit.
So I actually suggested that Chris run sub-CM Blacephalon. And I told him, in no circumstances did it blow through Gudra. And I guess he processed that as set up CMs on Gudra. And he really should have considered the fact that it was slower when the Earthquake went before his Calm Mind, when he was behind sub. And I guess the fact that Gudra was Scarf never crossed his mind.
Yeah,
And
he
he just
definitely
kinda,
should have known.
Just
Definitely
sacked
should have
it,
gone to
yeah.
Rockwood.
Yeah, get Webs back up for
Blacephalon-
free again.
Blacephalon was definitely Chris's win con here.
Yeah.
Nothing else on his team pressures Dave as much as Blacephalon.
Right, and I see the sub. I mean, I'm kind of familiar with slight tiny memes that I knew I was going to get hit with a Calm Mind, so that was why I went with Earthquake over Muddy Water. Also, Muddy Water has a chance to miss. So like the special defense boost wouldn't be helping Blacephalon. Plus, it has a really low base physical defense. Anyway, so
It is really low base defenses. Like that thing dies to resisted hits.
it's like special.
Yeah.
defense.
It's bad.
It's Kartana in both defenses.
Yeah, well, no,
Yep.
it's a little higher.
I think it's got straight 50 somethings. Anyway.
Yeah, it's 53s, but Kartana's is like 30 something. Anyways,
Kartana
basically as
hot defense.
yeah, it's not good.
So we can see
But as
Yeah.
Araquanid
Dave just kind of
flex
blows through the rest of
first.
his team
Yeah.
here.
kill against the mighty Lanoon.
This
Oh,
was
the
meant to be a
Linoon.
sack. I thought I'd live
Oh,
one, but I didn't. I didn't do the calcs on Empoleon's
not.
damage. That was a strong liquidation. It was max attack, so with splash plate.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Yeah, it was flat.
At this point, I don't really think Chris had a win condition. I suggested a couple ways he played it out, but all of them required him have Kyurem,
Right.
and he just kind of sacks it
Yeah.
for reasons unbeknownst to me.
Yeah.
It would live an LO Dazzling Gleam and kind of run through the rest of your team,
Right.
so I'm not really sure why he did that.
That was why I wasn't scared with Thunderbolt again. Because the chip on Kyurem was what I needed, so I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just
Yeah, he's
clean
kind
him
of
up.
Right.
This was.
I do want to point out there was a slight chance of winning, very slight chance of winning, if this were Moxie Pincer on the back end.
I actually ran the
If
count. Pincer does not live
No,
the
it
LO Thunderbolt.
It doesn't.
'Cause
It does
I was
outside of
why
electric
would you
terrain, though,
just
right?
not Mega and then kill him with EQ and run it back? And the answer is because.
Yeah, but if he'd stalled out one turn of electric terrain with Araquanid, because he had a protect available, if he stalled out the terrain, Pincer could have gotten FNSD. I think lived without the terrain.
I mean, it would be
right?
super easy for Dave to just switch it out and then switch it back in. So I
Yeah.
don't really. know if that would have.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it would require Pinsir SDing up in regular with no terrain up,
Or
and then quick attacking
it could have
the
like
Tapu
Destiny Bond.
Koko.
I
Yeah.
didn't actually have Destiny
You
Bond.
didn't have Destiny Bond. I totally
No.
thought you would. I was really scared when Chris started setting up combines that you were just gonna bring in the Bandit and Destiny Bond him.
I could.
The nice thing about Destiny Bond, though, is like with the sub com mind Blacephalon, you could have just avoided it by subbing or com minding or something. Probably subbing.
I did
So
have
that you
Destiny
don't get
Bond.
blown
I did
away
You
have
did have
Shadow
Destiny
Claw.
Bond. Okay.
Also
I
Shadow
figured.
Sneak, which
Oh well, yeah, that would have done the deed too. All right. So then, I believe that.
That's
Anybody have
game.
any closing comments on Pit 50 SCS?
yeah, I mean, I'm sorry I lost the Lanoon. It could have been 6-0, but that's
You're
all.
right. What happened? Why would you even send in the on that?
If I had done the calc on Empoleon, I would have known, but without the boosting item and max attack, I was living, so
Yeah.
I figured I'd live, but I didn't.
You should always know to preserve the 6-0, Dave. I'm disappointed.
Never
It
got
ended up just looking like an intended sack to me while I was watching it.
Yeah. All right.
sadly.
Like,
So now
this
we're-
mon's bad. Why'd I bring it in?
We are on to the final performance, which is Minyor Problem versus the Villanova Victini. Hashtag Ignite Change. So Finn opens Rabombi, and he's up against Scarm,
Yep.
so he U-turns out of there pretty sensibly. And AJ just goes in raw with a Brave Bird.
Yeah, he goes right for the
Um,
Brave Bird.
This is going to become a running
That did a
theme in
good
this
chunk
match.
of damage, too.
We're going to
Yeah.
see that AJ is going to go in raw with Brave Bird on Skarmory in many, many situations in which it would probably be more optimal for him to set hazards or click the fog.
Yeah, I feel like Stealth Rocks there is definitely the play.
Yeah. We see that he knocks off the Togekiss, which was AV, which I think is an interesting bring against a team that is notable for its physical offense and not its special offense.
Yeah, I think lefties probably makes more sense there.
Yeah.
For the quag.
It's gone anyways.
I mean, I think he does fine with the Togekiss in the couple turns it's out. I don't really
Yeah.
get why you would go for Shadow Ball over Flamethrower.
Yeah, it obviously wasn't heat-proof Bronzong after it took that much damage from a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Gotta run heat proof.
Might as well just click it again.
And then here, Finn just kind of takes the L with the Scizor and gets the chip off.
Which is actually really good for him, because this is the only thing that's a problem for Zygarde, really.
Yeah, Zygarde kind of runs through.
Except
the
for, like,
team.
Ice Punch Gallade,
And
maybe.
Finn did tell me before the match that he was running sub DD Zygarde, and it was at this point that I pretty much knew it was over.
Yeah. Yeah, the Togekiss goes down, and that's...
So here,
huge.
AJ decides to click Recreate, which is respectable, except that lets Zygarde in free, and he should really, really be conscious about that right now. And then he also reveals that he's Life Orb, which means that he lets everything in free. It basically means that Torn is not scared of Victini anymore, which is something that you really want when you're AJ. And he goes in raw with Brave Bird again.
Brave Bird
Which
again.
These U-turns are doing to Skarmory and Togekiss.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, like 1%.
The U-turns did nothing.
Momentum,
I
man.
thought Rhydon
Gotta get
was
the
actually a
momentum.
really solid switch in to Torrent. I wish he used it more. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, the worst thing is superpower, and that's not doing a lot. But as we
Yeah.
see, AJ was running some sort of aggro Rhydon instead of like a more defensively oriented set. But we don't really
Yeah,
get
like
to see
a
a lot
Toxic Stealth Rock.
of Rhydon because it just dies.
Rip.
Yeah, I felt like the problem with Rhydon here is obviously you got the Quagsire and the set gets pretty walled by Quagsire, but you've also got a typically defensive bulky Pokemon against a Zygarde and a Mega Scizor.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
probably
the
not.
Dusclops was probably the route there. He needed more offense in this match, and I don't think
Yeah.
the Rhydon really brought
I
what he needed.
also don't really agree with him sacking Gallade here because it was pretty clear to me that the only way he could win was through Gallade, and he just kind of lets it die.
Yeah, I mean, he's,
Yeah, and
he's
at this
stuck with
point-
Skarmory and half-dead Victini and 2 Eviolite.
Dude, honestly, I would have sacked the Dusclops there. It wasn't doing much for you anymore. The Gallade was
Yeah.
his key to victory, and I don't think it was really worth trading Gallade for Rabombi any
Yeah.
day of the week.
I don't know
Yeah.
how, at this point, he's planning on winning with Brave Bird on Skarmory.
Yeah,
Like,
he's got 3 support mons left. It's just not gonna.
Yeah,
happen.
he's basically just asking Zygarde to come in and put him out of his misery. And so Finn pretty much obliges as we get there. Finn also told me that he was running 404 HP on his Zygarde to make sure that it always lived the Nightshade. So he pulled the Tyler Klein against Dave strat, sending in his setup mon on the
Sweeper.
defense mon, and subbing out.
Yeah, this thing just got free DDs all over Dusclops, so there wasn't really much.
It really got
to
free
do about
DDs
it.
over the entire team.
I mean, Curse Stall.
Yeah, I don't
Metronome
think-
if you're real with Dusclops.
I don't think that's a set.
I don't think Nightshade.
It's
is
not a set.
Nightshade is definitely the easiest way
Nightshade
to
is
manage
like-
with Dusclops. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, he
my
has
boy
pitiful
does not
offensive
have
stats.
offense at all.
No,
That's why you got a Curse
brutal.
Stall.
That's why, yeah. And so here we see Finn gets up the substitute on turn 24, and it's over. There's,
Yeah, that's game.
It was over when
There's nothing
Kelly
that you can do after
took
that.
one Moonblast.
This is why AJ should have run Avalanche right on
I think he said he did actually.
to be the Heat Zygarde out.
Some coverage move. Come on, like it's draft league. You got to see the counters coming and then pull out the tech move. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I
don't know
messaged AJ afterwards, and he said it was Avalanche Rhydon, because I was asking him like, oh, why'd you bring Rhydon when he had Zygarde and Scizor, and he said he had Avalanche on it because he could OHKO it if it hit him,
That is,
but not if it's behind a sub.
I
So
wonder if he kind of took that idea from when I had Chris run Avalanche Tyranitar against John last season, which was definitely a Heat set. I was really proud of that one.
It's a good coverage move.
Dude, I'm so close to like bringing back Avalanche Tyranitar, but
I'll be
there's
waiting.
never a time because all the times are bad.
pretty much no. You have Ice Punch.
Yeah, I do have Ice Punch. I did run that this week for Glysaur,
Yeah.
and so Finn kind of shuts AJ out
Yeah.
of the win here.
Yeah, picking up a good win for Finn. Nice to see him not having to use stall.
Yeah.
Actually having a nice balanced
Let's see how
team.
that goes.
Really threatening team.
This was really a week of just like people destroying each other.
Except for
Yeah.
the Mark match.
Except for
Yeah.
except me and Billy, everything was a 3-0 or better, and even that 3-0 was Don versus Anna, and I feel like Don could.
Yeah, I think.
But I'm sure they'll get into that on there.
Yeah,
So,
their division had some closer matches. I think John versus Chris was actually pretty close despite the
The
differentials.
Vapors.
If the Savapers, if Chris didn't kind of try to think way too far ahead, he was,
Yeah, he is making a lot of predictions.
as I said, he was playing 4D chess, and John was firmly rooted in 2 dimensions, and he also is a skilled player who knew how to punish Chris for that, which really worked against
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
But that's not our topic of
Alright.
discussion.
Nope.
Yeah, we'll leave that for the Viper boys. I don't know when they're getting around to that, but
All right,
Hopefully
any
we'll see that
closing
coming
thoughts
down
on
the
this
pipe.
week?
I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see if people change their overall tendencies. Like Billy's gonna bring different sets. Anthony gets to play with a team that's actually his. It's fun stuff like that. I think we're all getting better in general, and we've got
Will
stuff to-
I ever bring a team that does not have a Volt Turn component?
I don't know. Week 4.
the grand mysteries that we have to wonder about.
Yeah.
Yeah, going forward, I think our division's going to be pretty interesting towards the top.
Honestly,
Like
I
the
think
top 5 or so teams.
as compared to last semester, there is a lot more like competition.
Yes.
Everybody has
Yeah.
improved very much in the span of a couple.
People
months.
just straight drafted better teams this time. I
This
think.
is true.
And you'll
Huge.
know all this if you sat through 41 minutes of Tyler talking about Volturn.
Whoa. I didn't even mention Volt Turn. Actually, I did, because Pace let me Volt Turn all over him, and it was awesome. But outside of that, we're good.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Guess we'll see you back again for week 2.
letting us waste your time.
Good luck.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Catch y'all next week.
See you next week.